recent reports of Boko Haram and Iswap members, denouncing their role as terrorists and also repenting to being stated into the society. Obviously, they are repentant terrorists, but we are not sure about that. But that is what the Nigerian government called it, that these guys are repentant Boko Haram members, and soon they'll be rehabilitated and instated into the Nigerian system and all of that. But the truth, something happened. The numbers kept increasing. About a week ago, we had about a few of them that repented and brought in their families. Not long ago, another group came in with your families that they have repented, and the government keep taking them in and all of that. But something has happened, because there was a deadly clash between Iswap and Boko Haram, which because it happened because some of them wanted to surrender. That is, most of them who wanted to surrender. Something terribly really happened while they were about to do this. Well, I will bring more details to you what went down, because it was a terrible scene between these two groups of terrorists. Yes, it was. But of course, please stay tuned. I will give you details on what happened right there. But please ensure you subscribe if you're coming here for the first time, and also like our videos. Don't forget to share and also turn on the notification bell so that you can get updated anytime we drop a new video. All right, my dear friends, without further ado, it says scores of Iswap and Boko Haram fighters have been killed during a deadly clash between the terrorist groups in northern Abadam, Borno State. It was gathered that Boko Haram militants who had planned to surrender came under heavy attack by their angry ISWAP counterparts in the Gusuriya community located in Dumbawa village. The Boko Haram members were on their way to surrender to the multinational joint task force at a border with the Niger Republic last weekend when they were attacked. One of the intelligence sources who is familiar with the development disclosed that ISWAP leadership was rattled by Boko Haram fighters' desertion and placed a death sentence on any fleeing member in the Lake Chad Aztecs. The deadly attack was coordinated by the Abakaka, a self-acclaimed ISWAP governor of Tumbuma, commanding Mate, Abadam, Kukawa, and Magumeri, leading to a heavy gun battle that lasted for hours, which resulted in the killings of over 25 terrorists, including 3 commanders, while many other militants who ran in different directions with their families were left with bullet wounds. Another source told us that the continued internal rift and the hostility between the two militant groups are exacerbated by the execution of just Boko Haram fighters for committing a minor offense, as well as refusal to appoint them into key positions. Some high-ranking commanders bearing the titles of Amir and Kahid, chiefs under the Shekau's Caliphate in Sambisa, were reduced to ordinary militant fighters after paying allegiance to the ISWAP leadership. Some JAS commanders and their loyalists were already contemplating pitching their tents against the ISWAP by joining forces with the Bakura and criminal-led JAS factions that have been battling the ISWAP around the axis of Lelewa, Dua, Walal, and Hawa, Bulumwa villages in the Niger Republic, the source concluded. Yes, also we have reported that Tinginia Islamic Public School, Niger, Niger, 87 days, 6 hours, 21 minutes, 41 seconds. Yuguru student, Kebi, 69 days, 1 hour, 31 seconds. Baptist School student, Kaduna, 51 days, 3 hours, 12 minutes, 59 seconds. Yes, those are, some of the students are also yet to be released that have been kidnapped, and that is the time frame that these guys have been able to stay in the dungeon or stay in the camp of this deadly terrorist. It is painful that our government has not been able to handle this terrorist issue, because it is now a serious cause for concern by everybody in the house, because a lot of things have been going on in the country now that everyone now seems to be so quiet that everyone believe, oh, if God comes and is able to handle this, all well and good. A lot of people has actually resorted to faith, believing that, well, no matter what, we're going to survive. But we should be able to face a government we voted into office. Even though they have tried to shut everybody, I believe we still have a voice. It is until your voice has been, taken away from you, that is when you could know that, okay, indeed you should be silent because you have nothing to say. But when it has to do with, opening, correcting some wrongs, I believe we should be able to speak out. But now nobody's speaking out. Now, Iswap and Boko Haram has taken over just because they have been repenting and some have been surrendering their arms and surrendering themselves, does not mean truly that these guys have, genuinely repented. That is the basic truth. Like a lot of people said, that some of these guys have not genuinely, repented. So why is the government keeping them? And why does it want to rehabilitate these guys? We have a lot of young Nigerians. We have a lot of youths that really need help. They need rehabilitation, that need jobs, and yet those who have been terrorizing the country and doing a lot of terrible things in the country, you want to spend a whole lot of money to, rehabilitate them, instill them into the society. Now they will have a job, and yet the youth who have been fighting for their lives and for their families will be left jobless. It just doesn't make sense. These are some of the things that we are talking about in the country that does not make sense. How can a president sits down and puts huge sums of money, billions of naira, to rehabilitate Boko Haram terrorists, hardened criminals that have been terrorizing the peace of the nation, and at the end of the day, you grant them access to enjoy the benefit of democracy? It is indeed very unfortunate because, this has actually hit so hard into the society and everything that has to do with Nigeria. But I hope that the Northerners are learning from this, because it seems they are not learning. Like what the Commodore said in our previous post, that all of these things, a lot of Nigerians are too religious. They are religious to the extent that they cannot tell right from wrong. All they believe that is that once it has been said this is the way it should be done, that is the way it should be done. Sometimes we have to challenge some things so that we can feel better and our life can feel better. That is the basic truth. And now we have Boko Haram and Iswap fighting for supremacy. Now some do not want the others to even surrender, to the government. So that means even some of them that will be surrendering are not genuine. So how do we know? I hope Nigeria will not become like Afghanistan and other countries that have been suffering from terrorist attacks, and also the Taliban that has taken over in Afghanistan and some other places of the world. Well, guys, you've heard it all. Thank you so much for staying.